that silence, a decision was made. They had to survive. Do that, they had to win. Game had to begin. Bad end, the game begins. It's clearly a demo ending. Over to the Golden Jack, now officially. Why officially, you ask? Because you cannot say you have truly been in the Golden Jack if you have not experienced death at least once. Meet again, this time in a bit of a different context. Yes, it is I, that voice in your head. Who am I, you ask again? I know it must be vexing, but my willingness to divulge that information still lays far. What I can do is give you my rank, my position. I'm the person in charge of guiding you through this little labyrinth. Following each death, we shall meet again, but I cannot guarantee that all I can provide will be of great value. In fact, it would be better if you do not expect such a thing. You will not find answers here, but on the proper game, and I'll make sure that every little visit of yours is worth doing with some advice. Introductions out of the way, we can get to the truly important thing. Your first death. You might be confused right now. Have you truly died? Billiards' death has been guaranteed. It's only a matter of time. Therefore, the answer is yes. Let's consider this a way to save time for both of us. After all, this is the moment in which the boy is defeated, his goal unreachable as soon as a good portion of the rules decide that they need to start playing seriously to survive. And they are not wrong, don't you agree? Or perhaps his hopes can be fulfilled. Let us take this brief moment to discuss about it. Wonder, what is your opinion on our little hero? You do not get the liberty to choose what rule to follow, so like it or not, you are trapped with him. Do you feel sympathy for him? Do you share his goal, or do you believe he is wasting his time? Personally, from my position, it is truly hard not to laugh. Do not interpret that comment as if his victory is unattainable. Is it a matter of attitude? Be it possible or not, this rule is like watching an ant go desperately around and around. So insignificant, so weak, so easy to crush. But perhaps that is why the natural reaction is not to kill it, but to observe it. Watch as it continues to run and fight for life. Did I go too far, I wonder? Maybe I did get carried away. It's a pity that I cannot hear you reply to my question, but I feel satisfied in just having asked it. In my opinion, love or hate this little ant, seeing his journey has some merit. I hope that, together, we will see what fate awaits this rule. Not this pathetic end, but one that lies beyond. That is all. It is time to return to the first council and try again. You'll have to be more aggressive to survive. Not let the others derail the conversation and all will be well. Or at least, better. This journey has only just started. Let's make a toast in honor of a fruitful game. The souls of these lost rules, for the Golden Jack, and for our dearest owner. Ending. Okay. So in theory we can skip through this real quick. We have found the skip button. You're progressing well. I really like the system, honestly. Really curious to see what all we can do with this. But it's possible. Evidence matters. Win-win. Okay. Oh no, I broke it. I broke it! Time power too fast. Time power too strong. I broke it. Let's try that again. So there's still some quirks to work out. Understandable. This is a very early alpha, a Kickstarter core concept demo. Plenty of room for polish. Understandable, that will come in time. let this load in properly. Okay. Let this play out normally. If we can just successfully intervene the second time around, the billiards table system is kind of cute too, because it literally shows it's a visual representation of how the argument is going, who is jawing at whom, and who else it's affecting based on how the shots fire. That's a really cute idea. I actually really like that. Even if I broke it by skipping into it first time. But I actually really like this. Boink. I love that. Cigar just literally cuts off piano here. So just piano fires, cigar boing. That's cute. That's really cool. Okay. Now it's gonna start. Get back by the rule anymore. Positive swing. And Jin swings with his back. They're making good points throughout the way this could be affecting the game, but it only becomes a problem if someone starts playing a game. We can skip through by clicking. Alright. Gotta wait to intervene. I understand how you feel, but appeal to ethics. Maybe it's the second one we have to do. Could you live happily after it? Manage to ruin the game and get out of here. Will you be able to live with the guilt? Harsh question, but a needed one. We first met less than an hour ago. There's some people here that I just don't see myself getting along with, but none give off the look of a psycho. We all know that. Whatever happens, our lives won't be the same after this. That still doesn't mean death is the best option. Rational take from you, Poker. Acceptable. I'm not so sure everyone here would feel guilty. You calling me a psycho? Uh-oh. Chill, kid. Wasn't referring to you. Although with that reaction... You calling me a kid? Yes. What? Are you actually 20 or something? Are you gonna use that plot twist? No, but... Maybe then? What? I'm no psycho. I get no enjoyment out of this, and hopefully nobody here does. This is our reality now. It can be more aggressive or more passive. It's not possible to keep ignoring the game. You can only do that if you already gave up, like the old man. Is it that noticeable? You admitted it a couple of times, I think. Besides the hyperactive girl, you sure seem to be taking this the easiest. I'm the hyperactive girl, right? Not that I'm looking forward to death, mind you. Just that I already did everything I planned to do in life. By no means was it the most satisfying in life, but it's the one I had. don't want these youngsters to take the bullet for someone like me already on my way to the grave. That's what's fair. I'll defend myself a tad, but not a ton. Can't do much with this pile of old bones anyways. Never were much good in life in the first place. I get what you're trying to say, Bill. Like Poker said, I prefer living with that weight than dying in this place. What's wrong with the bar? Yeah. Then dying in this game. Well, fair enough, I suppose. I don't like it one bit, but that's how it is. I have more than enough reason to want to live. Imagine everyone else does too. Certainly, we must all do all we can to not stain our hands with blood, but also protecting our very lives, even at the cost of others. Even if you keep saying that, it's better than death. But you must protect your lives, that you don't like it, even if it's all true. Everything gets worse and someone gets desperate. We'll all fall apart. In less than an hour, we could all be dead. No survivors. A game like this can corrupt anyone. And even if you survive, what you did will follow you for the rest of your life. Bill spewed out all that he had been holding back. All his thoughts and fears. Whoa, okay, we're in the center here. Everyone stared at him, making him even more nervous. You know, I'll give you that. Whoever survived this will have their life changed forever. That doesn't change my opinion, though. I prefer a tormented life to none at all. Maybe I'll go to hell later, but I'm not very religious, so it won't keep me awake at night. Even if the winner gets caught and goes to jail, it's still a damn better fate than dying here. Debatable, but how's it always been a fight for survival? That is the society we've created. Strong survive by preying on the weak. This game is only a smaller scale version, yet more extreme. And like with society, to survive you have to follow the rules. Is that really true? Boom. Is that really true? It's an interesting cut-in. You think it's not? You're all assuming something that could be wrong. Enlighten us. Game could have a loophole. Compare this game to our society. Sure, our society is far from perfect, but I don't see it as a fair comparison. Interesting. Continue. How do I say this? Basically, society has been created through generations going back centuries. And this game, apparently, has only one creator. Our kidnapper, this owner, might be a psychopath, sick, crazy. But they are human, and no human is perfect. So before you throw yourselves into playing the game seriously to survive at the cost of others, maybe we should look for the possible mistakes that might exist. Might be a way for all of us to get out of here alive, breaking the game from the inside. Thart's eyes opened with a clear surprise, which he unsuccessfully tried to hide. The rest of the group also seemed shocked. It was obvious once said out loud, but nobody seemed to have realized yet. What in such a situation, so distinct from anything they had ever lived before, they had instinctively jumped to one conclusion. It seems real, it's too elaborate to be false. Getting carried away by negativity, or for whatever reason, they had taken the owner's words as if they were the absolute truth. Yeah, that's hence why they're overanalyzing Bill's plan with rule number 3. Such a setting could only appear in fiction, never in real life, so the only insight they could gain was through that fiction. What if strangers are forced into playing a game where they have to kill or be killed? Traps or strategies to win dirty were the only alternative. No work of fiction would let the characters avoid the game entirely and escape without participating. There would be no loophole, no error in the jail they had been locked in. That's why automatically, unconsciously, they had to reach that conclusion. Woo! Bravo, young man. Maybe this youth is more promising than I believed. You at least could have a brilliant future. If we get out of here, of course. That last bit wasn't needed, Grams. I have to admit defeat. I had considered that possibility. We spent all this time reading all the rules. Me neither. We didn't actually stop to consider if we had to follow them all. Sadly, I think I'm too negative in these types of situations. In these types? Does this happen often to you, or what? Of course not. It's my first time. She has a depressed mom energy to her. Where could that loophole be? How do we escape? I don't know. Then... Chill. Let's not crush poor Billy Bill with so much responsibility. Maybe we can find something together. Exactly. I'm not saying it'll be easy, or even that the way out absolutely exists. We can't give up without trying. Sounds good, but honestly wouldn't know where to even begin. I admit defeat in this debate, with pleasure. No game is perfect. With this level of complexity, it's even more likely that there's some huge mistake. I won't retract my words, but I agree with that. In that case, we could declare the council done. But before that... You're gonna go? Who will take the fall? Oh, Rule 3. Duh. Silly me, forgot already. Never reached any conclusion. He actually got wrapped up in the rules. Just because we agree about the game doesn't mean we do with the other proposal as well. Ah. I say yes. Ball, you have my vote. Not accusing, I mean, on this. Thanks, I guess, but the name? Letting chance decide would be fair. I give my support as well. Letting chance decide. Okay, fine. Let's just do it. I have one condition. What? I will agree to your proposal, all of it, with one condition. I go last. It's a show of confidence in your own idea, and to prove that you truly are ready to take a risk for it. You go first. You'll decide the order at random, but you will be first by default. You mean... On, Billy. You don't have much choice. Billiards, tell us, what is your number? His heart started to pound violently. Well, that had been the case during all the council, but he hadn't realized it until that moment. It was simple. He only had to give out a number from 1 to 10. A number that wasn't his own, and thanks to the data he had gotten, were 3 numbers he could be sure of. But there was one huge problem. If for some reason his lie was discovered, he couldn't give his real one. He didn't know it. Which meant that, if for everyone else being discovered was death penalty, for him it was the execution itself. But Darts was right. If he wanted to be taken seriously, he had to show his resolve and take a step forward. It would help get their trust, protect them. But he didn't aim to participate in that game. He didn't want to mistrust anyone, to see them as potential killers. He wanted to keep a positive outlook and not fall in the hands of the mastermind behind the game. that situation, that fear of death, was exactly what the owner sought. If his life was of equal value to the rest, the choice was obvious. However, if his own life was more important, maybe he should look at it as a necessary sacrifice so he could later reach the perfect end he yearned for. Even so, taking that step, jumping in the unknown, something that only a few were meant to be capable of. Billiards was a normal guy, nobody special, just another person. He was no hero, no daredevil, not the type to jump into danger. Could he really put his life at stake for everyone's sake? He had to give an answer. Oh? Accept. Number is 1. Count completed. Oh. Let's give the antidotes for the next hour will be delivered shortly. Drinking them as soon as possible is advised. Avoid secondary effects and death. Oh. We see how the various outcomes could play out here. Oh? Is there more? Another day. He had gone through that daily routine for a while now. Get up early. Go to work. Eat. Odd, the age page said about an hour, but going on 3. Go back to work. Get home. Eat again. Sleep. His salary wasn't much, but not too low either. It was enough to get by, and the job was decent. That was the first step. In time, he would have enough money saved up for the second, and he would soon get there. Just a bit more. Problem would be the third step, and the fourth, and the fifth. What future awaited him? What did he really want to do in his life? Even back then, he already felt satisfied with the path he had taken. Without a grand dream nor a great ambition, it was a journey with no destination. Is that good enough? Sometimes he wondered if he could really live like that forever. Enough money, he could try and get a career, but which one? Nothing especially called out to him. Nothing sounded especially bad to him. Years, he had focused on reaching that point where he could live by himself without depending on others. Without bothering others. He had reached it. His dream was his present life. Now he needed a new dream. And yet, no matter how much he tried, he had found none that could fuel his passion. He wasn't depressed about it. He hadn't lost sleep over it. That uncertainty, that doubt, had embedded itself inside him, resurfacing every now and then with a growing frequency. Maybe because of it, to avoid obsessing over it, he had focused so much on his routine. It was a safe space, something he didn't need to worry over. That uncertain future still hadn't arrived. Maybe it never would. Truce. My number is 1. That was his decision. Everyone's reaction was instantaneous, not so much because of the number he had chosen, because he'd taken Dart's deal. But why 1? Data he had received confirmed to him that he didn't have 1, 5, 7, or 9. Among those safe choices, he had gone with 1, the most powerful beyond question. Giving out that number meant that the others could be sure he didn't have the ability to kill anybody directly. It was another way to gain their trust. Even so, with that decision, he had put his life on their hands. As Jin put it, any one of them now had the chance to accuse him of being Rule 1, forcing him to reveal his real one. And if that happened, he wouldn't be able to answer, be eliminated, which nobody knew. Even so, his words seemed to have convinced them, for now at least, to search for an alternative that required no deaths, or perhaps they had just honored his bravery. Either way, nobody initiated an accusation, and Darts had no choice but to completely accept his proposal as promised. Then on, an oath to fulfill Rule 3 and an order to be decided at random would have to be followed. Moreover, no one could be forced to share their real number by proving they lied. With that, they manually concluded the council with their barman. It was then that a message arrived from the owner, Mastermind. They had to take their antidotes, but there were still a few minutes left until the end of the hour, when they would be distributed. Well, that wasn't so bad, was it? Lime stood up and stretched out her arms. Nobody answered. I'll admit I didn't expect you to accept. You have my respect, especially with your choice of number. Thanks. But if we don't find a way to escape, sooner or later we'll have to play the game for real. If someone takes the first step, everyone else will have to follow in order to survive. Coffee's voice was low, almost a whisper, but her words had weight. It could be said that Bill had managed to form a truce, but it was a fragile peace. Peace hanging on by a thread of hope. Then when do we decide that order? And how? We should probably do it now. And let's go. Rock, paper, scissors. What's your obsession with that game? Anyone got a better idea? We're already playing a game, so let's not get too crazy. Nothing beats the classics. Works for me. Let chance decide. Some didn't seem as convinced with the idea, but the majority had chosen and nobody had any better ideas. Minutes later, the order had been decided. Bill, as the bystander, wrote it down in the notes section of his barman. The results in order are... Council 2, cigar. 3, cocktail. 4, poker. 5, vodka. 6, coffee. 7, lime. 8, darts. 9, piano. 10, gin. Oh, that works out. How can I be this unlucky? You're really bad at rock, paper, scissors, huh? Can't be bad at a completely luck-based game. As for me, can't say I'm lucky after I ended up in this place. I need to get out of here, ASAP. The less far we get down this list, the better. If it's your turn, you do it. Easy for you to say when you're near the end, kid. Not a kid. No fighting now. Alright, so now what? We should go take our antidotes. The drinks should be on the counter. Yes, please, I need something strong. Like a shot of bleach? I once read a novel with a murder where the killer used detergent to do it. Don't give me that look, it was a joke. I wasn't talking about killing you. Man, people have lost their sense of humor. That's a bad joke. Not the time for that. Weird novel, I know. A sequel is better. Everyone else began to rise from the table, heading to the counter. For the time being, they would leave the place just as it was for use in future councils. Eh? A small, empty cry came from behind Bill. He immediately turned round and saw vodka lying on the floor. Are you okay? Everyone still around ran to him. Still breathing, so I'd say I am. This body isn't what it used to be. Well, never was one for sports. Who am I kidding? Did you trip with something? There's nothing to trip on, though. The Phantom Banana Peel is back with a vengeance? Oh no, my body simply went poof, and here I am now. Just my age, nothing to get surprised over. This stuff happens sometimes. Even so, something was off. Bill put his hand to Vodka's forehead. Just as he feared, it was hot. A fever? Maybe. Are you sure that's all it is? Truth be told, I'm sorry to say that I'm not a doctor. A shocker, I know. Though my head is the one that's really in shock right now. Everything's hazy. It has to be the poison. Oh, now that you mention it, that could be it, yes. It's true, you really are poisoned. I feel slightly off as well, but that's about it. It makes sense for someone of his age to be weaker to the poison, however. We must hurry. Yo, Billin, help me carry him. Putting their strengths together by each grabbing his shoulder, raised him up. Could, bring his drink to him. By the time they got to the counter, the drinks were already on it, waiting for them. How did Cocktail know that the antidotes would be delivered as drinks? They came down from that lift over there. Wouldn't it be nice if they could use it to get out of here? Too small, though. It doesn't seem like there's any way to turn it on from here. Maybe the kid can fit. Hey! Don't know. Have you tried putting it on it? We could give it a shot. I'm too big to fit in there. That aside, he could get hurt. Don't pressure him. We should do, and quick, is drink the antidotes. Cocktail pointed at the tray with the drinks. Each one has a name on it, and showed the glass in hand. Already empty with a label attached that said poker. I can say this, whoever made my cocktail has good taste. Cocktail took a sip of the one that carried his name. It was a small glass of only a few centimeters, containing a transparent liquid. Due to its lack of color, the cherry on top stood up more. Man's face wrinkled as the liquid went through his throat. Chupito Habanera. While I can't say one way or the other about the production quality of these cocktails, I can guarantee that this vodka is very good indeed. How nice of you to say, young lad. Age didn't take everything away from me. A sense of humor is vital in life. A small chuckle escaped from Cocktail's lips before they bit into the cherry. Each drink was different. At a glance, they seemed to be made with everyone's taste in mind. Once again, they were showing they'd done their research on them. Though that wasn't the most pressing issue at the moment. The brief time they took to get there, he started to feel a moderate headache. His vision had become somewhat blurry, and he even a slight feeling of nausea. It hadn't reached the point of being serious yet, but the poison had begun to show its form. He had to take the drinks with the alleged antidote before their stakes worsened, so they could survive for at least one more hour. Bill and Lime managed to sit down vodka on one of the stools and gave him his drink, which appeared to be some sort of, yes, vodka. Getting drunk in that situation didn't seem like a great idea, but he had no choice. Bill took his glass. He didn't know much about the subject, so he had no idea what cocktail he was about to drink. But his life was more important, so he downed it all in a single go. It had a citric taste. Lemon. Not bad. Little by little, he began to feel the slight headache diminishing until it was gone. A few minutes later, everything went back to normal. He even felt pretty good. That might have been partly due to the drink itself. Everyone looked to be the same, but he decided to ask anyways. Did you notice the effects of the poison? I felt nauseous on the way here, and then I had some chills. Maybe I was just nervous, but... No, I noticed something like that too. Almost threw up. Now there's no question about it. We don't find another way. Our only option is to play the game. They'd come across several hurdles during the council, but by drinking the antidotes, they had officially made it past the first hour. All numbers were still alive. That included the problematic ones like 3 and 4. For the game to end and recover their freedom, only 3 of them or less had to remain alive. So said the core rules of the game. One by one, the rules had to fall. Billiards still couldn't accept it. It wasn't blind optimism. It wasn't expecting any magical solution to appear in front of them. It wasn't even expecting a rescue team to arrive. What could be considered the ideal outcome. In essence, he wouldn't give up until every possibility was explored. Whatever was the most realistic option, whatever were their odds didn't matter to him. It didn't matter that they were strangers, or even what he thought of them. He'd managed to bring them to his side for now, so it seemed. It was far from a victory. In fact, he could feel the ground crumbling not too far beneath him. The worst-case scenario was coming. He had no way of knowing how long that truce would last. He had to hurry. All rules had been placed on the board. The game asked for them to be brought down. To Bill, the real endgame was to overturn the board itself. Distant goal, perhaps an impossible one. One beyond optimism, beyond the game. But he would stretch his arm until he reached it. Wow, we're still going. I'm amazed and impressed at how long this demo is. I can no longer save. Tension had cleared up since the council sat in. Once everyone had drank their antidotes, the group had split up across the bar. Bill still remained at the counter. He had used that small respite to try and write down something in the notepad included in the barman. Okay, now I can save. I did not mean to save over that. That's okay. Still have the council start save. Godfather. Midori Sour. Pineapple Passion. Oh, so we know everyone's favorite drinks now. Cosmopolitan. Cafe Irlandis. Got nothing. Chupito Amanera. Vodka Stinger? That's fair. Knockout. You sure are. Lime Gin Fizz. Okay, so there's an exclamation point here when there's profile updates. Besides himself, Cocktail also stayed there. It seemed like he'd gotten a liking for working behind the counter. Either that, or as many had already guessed, this wasn't the first time behind one. He was holding up one of the empty glasses, smelling it. Bill could read piano in its label. Huh? What are you doing? As I thought, just wanted to make sure. About what? Piano's Cocktail. I wondered if it was alcoholic. Expected. No, I can't smell any alcohol in it. It does have pineapple, though. That's for sure. Wow, they really put some thought into this, huh? Certainly. If you wish to hear my opinion, the attention to detail that's been put into this game is appalling. Right, especially when you had that data we've received. How much do they know about us? Doesn't end there, and goes as far as to say that our drinks have been carefully chosen for each of us. Piano's non-alcoholic cocktail, my vodka shot, or Lime's lime drink. What's with lime and lime? Following the same logic, maybe our nicknames have some reason behind them, though. But I can't think of any relation between me and Billiards. About your drink, the Midori Sour, have you tried it before? Not sure, to be honest. You aren't sure? I don't remember. I've tried a bunch of drinks, but not an expert. I can imagine, yes, but the Midori Sour has a very characteristic trait. Hard to forget it. Really? What's that? Well, it has a very striking green color. It's very easy to recognize. Now that you mention it, maybe I did try it at some point. I feel like I had a similar conversation with someone. I see. You might do well in trying to remember. After all, there must be a reason why our host chose that drink for you. Maybe, yeah. Once they were done with their drinks, the side effects of the poison quickly died down. Any possible doubts left about the authenticity of the poison appeared to have vanished. They had felt it. Of course, he hadn't checked if it would really result in their deaths if they didn't drink the antidote, but taking such a risk was unnecessary. Neither could they know for certain if winning the game would guarantee them a permanent antidote. But they had no choice but to believe it. So with the real danger practically confirmed, conversation sprouted. Well, we got over the first hurdle. His intention was to encourage everyone to reduce tensions. If we keep working together, we could easily keep ourselves alive. He knew it wouldn't be so easy, especially not simple, but he knew in those moments that he had to be positive to prevent the situation from falling apart. Totally. Till the time we all die together arrives. Lovely ending, no? Hi. He turned his head and looked at Jin, seated on one of the nearby tables. This little bet quickly fell apart when the true obstacle to their survival was mentioned. Rule 4. He hadn't forgotten it, but wanted to keep the peace going for as long as possible. There's still a lot of time for that. Until then, we have time to find the way out. Yeah, I know. I'll try to be more positive. Or we could get rid of that rule so we have all the time in the world. Of course, then our time limit would be how much we can endure without food. And sleep. We would have to keep an eye open just in case. You're asking too much, Ace of Clubs. Became a sloth bear when sleeping, or a non-sloth bear hibernating. Pick whichever bear metaphor you prefer. Rule 4 is our biggest threat. And naturally, its owner won't confess. We need other methods. Jin came back from the counter, interested in joining the discussion, which had quickly ended up on that unavoidable subject. 9 hours left. If the player in possession of that rule was still alive on the 10th, their lives were over. Were 9 hours enough time for a miracle? What was the likelihood of a rescue? Not even the date. How much time had gone by since their capture was known to them? The police would start a search sooner or later. They couldn't be too late by the time they were found. In fact, they also couldn't be sure they were in the same city, even country. If they were taken far, finding them would take days, weeks, maybe even months. It was because of that. He had chosen to not say much on that option, focusing on the possibility of an escape. Rule 4 isn't the only threat, nor the biggest. Again, the young woman's voice broke into the conversation. It seems you overcame Rule 3 for now, but you're forgetting 1 in 9. It's certainly true that there's one person that can remove us if they so desired, but it would be 9 against 1. Can't kill, but the rule doesn't forbid self-defense. If one attacks, we can stop them. I doubt one will attack openly. If they do, they'd have to plan it well. Voice. And there's no firearms here. Not that we know anyways. That doesn't worry me much, but Rule 9 could. 9 is those missions, right? We just gotta do them. In secret. Oh, which means we can't help each other. I wasn't referring to carrying them out. From hour 6 onwards, that rule guarantees the death of 1 to 2 players per hour. A spy and the 3 better halves. Rules that make it impossible to avoid a death. The spy had to reveal someone's secret objective, pushing them into their depths to avoid their own. If 3 better halves were in play, only 2 could fulfill their objectives, leaving the 3rd alone. The only way to avoid it would be removing Rule 9. I think the best way for everyone, but that of course also meant the death of the rule's representative. So in short, peace can only last for 6 hours. That's why we have to hurry. Hurry how? My head isn't making sense of all this. Now priorities Rule 2. That's the obstacle keeping us here. So we find 2 and then we... No. We'll find another way. What other way? There's none. Or do you have an idea? No, of course not. He convinced them to search for a way out of the game, but that didn't mean they had agreed to avoid any death. If there was a way to do that, they would probably agree. Nobody there wanted to kill. They were against the ropes. He had expected to end up in that situation at some point, but he wished to have had a bit more time to think. Wasn't he sort of genius, and everything was new to him? He was still trying to process all this information. He found it impossible to get a convincing solution so soon, assuming it even existed. Everyone's gazes focused on him, pressured him with no need for words, made him wonder if he was alone on that search for an end. Nobody had to kill or be killed, if everyone had given up except for him. He was alone. The rest, some more than others, had mostly accepted that it was impossible. The realistic outlook, the most logical and reasonable, at least human. Kill 2, escape the bar. For that, search for the antidotes in the exit. If they didn't find them, they'd kill 9 to extend their lives. Naturally, 4 would go as well, to truly extend their time. At that point, any death would be justified, one after another, until finally only the winners of the game remained. That was the scenario that tormented Bill. If they killed 2 to advance, any other obstacle they found in their path would be solved in the same manner. First death was the hardest. After crossing that line that no human should, all subsequent times were much easier. When the end justified the means once, it will do so twice, thrice, and so on. Perhaps the only alternative would be the one that he'd already considered. Go outside alone, jump into the unknown blindly. Are you okay, boy? Suddenly some of the eyes on him turned to looks of worry. He drank his antidote. The effects of the poison should be gone. It took him a moment to realize his own actions. He was crouching on the floor, almost into a ball, with his hands on his head. For how long he had been like that? Since when? He didn't know. He got up slowly, looking around. Panic attack? I'm fine. Oh, thank God. I almost had a heart attack. You too? Almost had ourselves a combo. So I wasn't the only one. I believe that was a panic attack. I must have felt too pressured. Sorry. No, Cocktail is right. Sorry. Kid, you apologize too. You think you're my mom? I don't need to be here to tell you to have some manners. If you didn't know, we shouldn't have said anything. Drop it. Even if time's running out, we need to relax and think slowly. I get you, Bill, but this responsibility isn't just yours. For now, the only option seems to be removing Rule 2, but we have 5 hours. We can keep searching. Look through every nook and cranny of this place, and we'll talk again. Agreed. Coffee looked at Bill one more time. The hard to decipher look, stood up and left. Darts left too, followed by the others. Rest up a while, kid. This shit seems to be getting to you, too hard. The shock he had was shocking in itself. He really didn't know his mind could never shut down like that. His body still trembled from it, making sure he didn't forget it. I don't feel like that's something that Poker isn't saying. That's an internal monologue. Even more surprising than that. What he really couldn't stop thinking about, what he still couldn't understand, was why did he seem to be the only one seriously affected by it all? Bill had been left alone in the counter with Cocktail and vodka. He didn't have the will to move after that defeat. He had to calm down first. Noticing his mood, Cocktail spoke. Do you need to chat? I've experienced cheering up people that need it, even if I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm still thinking it over. I agree that we should search outside the bar, but sacrificing someone to do it is too much. Your attitude is laudable. I wish such an alternative exists, but I'm afraid I don't see it. Me neither, but I'll keep thinking. Don't strain yourself. Sometimes you need to calm down and let the ideas come on their own. I'd like to, but there's not much time. You can survive for 5 more hours, but that doesn't mean nobody will do anything for that long. It's already seemed to have decided to finish 2 off. That's possible, but we still don't know who that is, and though they may have acknowledged that's the only possibility of escaping, doesn't mean that they have the resolve to carry it out. Our ends will inevitably come in time, but they'll try to delay a decision as much as possible. You think so? I got the feeling some were already ready to kill. I did so as well, but even if it's true, a majority is needed for an accusation. Or the help of one. Correct. That's why we need to act before the worst happens. 2's death. No, the start of the game. If 2 feels threatened, they'll try to win the game. I can't deny that. It would make sense that after that conversation, whoever possesses that rule will feel their life is in danger and act. And running away would only save them from 1. If they find out someone went out, we'll know it's 2. If a majority votes them out, even if they're not present, they must feel cornered. It's the most unfortunate rule to have in that sense. It's an advantage that will quickly reveal your identity if you make use of it. I'm getting my voice backwards again. Sneaking away without being seen or noticed by anyone would be difficult, no doubt. If instead of proposing to finish off that rule, we'd have looked for a deal. A deal? With 2, make sure nobody votes for them, and let them go out freely to find help. And number 8 could use messages to keep in touch with them, and inform us. That's not a bad idea. Could be the answer you were seeking. Could have been, but I doubt 2 would want to cooperate after that. It was unless he was actually 2. That solitary exploration of the outside was what he had planned to do if he had found no other way, betting on the chance of being that rule. In any case, we shouldn't rely on our salvation waiting on the other side of that door. The owner has allowed one of us to leave, or all of us if that person dies. Doubt that building's exit is easily accessible. I know, but it's our biggest hope right now. I'm just curious. I don't like being the pessimist, but I felt a reminder was needed. No matter how harsh it may be, you should prepare for the worst. But I know, I too would prefer to avoid any deaths, and the rest probably do so as well. And yet it looks like I'm the only one that refuses to play no matter what. I'm not capable of killing anybody. I don't have that mental strength. I dare to say that. You may be the only one with that strength. Huh? Not the strength to kill, but the strength to put your morals above your life. Those who decide to win the game to survive at the cost of the rest won't be cold-blooded killers, but instead victims. I don't think I can see a killer as a victim. Even if it's to survive, killing makes you a murderer. I'm not saying otherwise, that's why I said cold-blooded. It could be said that someone like that is both victim and killer in equal amounts, but that's quite a complex moral topic. Maybe it can't be seen objectively. We're the victims of a kidnapping, and whoever put us here is the big culprit. But still, obeying their rules and killing, it's a crime. You can't see it as any other way. If we want to stay human, we can't rob other people's lives, no matter what. Law would agree with you, but I see it differently. We are all in the same boat. We shouldn't see each other as enemies. Let's continue on, shall we? I'm beyond impressed at how long this continued on. Not gonna lie. If, by the end, we survive at the cost of others, we must cry at their deaths and celebrate our lives. And if we die at the hands of another, we must accept it in peace. A very commendable way of looking at it, but I doubt most see it that way. Humans are selfish. Empathy has its limits. Even someone like me, ready to accept death, would curse the one that kills me. That's only fair. Are you really ready, if so? Yes, but also no. You see, at this point in life, I have just stopped caring about being consistent. I'll answer one way at one time, and later another. Whatever happens, happens. In other words, screw it. God can take my middle finger. And all the others too. Might as well. I appreciate the lightheartedness, but I think you should calm down slightly. You don't seem very bothered by all this either. I'm only trying to be at peace. Like I said, I don't plan to act, but only observe and protect myself. That's two of us then. How about you, boy? You talk much about avoiding deaths. However, would you throw your own life to save another? Bill finally raised his head. Of course, saving everyone meant him as well. It was the ambition of a hero, even though he didn't see himself as one. So if he had to choose between his life or someone else's, nobody, including myself, will die. I see. How youthfully optimistic. His answer was not to answer. In a way, it had started to feel like a challenge. Prove them wrong, that they could reach that ideal ending. By looking at it that way, his motivation grew. There's always a way to survive without playing this game. Maybe right now doesn't seem possible, but in time, it will appear. Vodka, until that moment, carefree, stared him in the eyes. Those eyes, though you're implying it's not optimism, but a certainty. Yes. It came out without a thought. It really wasn't optimism or certainty, just stubbornness, but against the sudden pressure, he had lied. Maybe I got you wrong, young lad. What you have is madness. Huh? I want to agree, but my senses tells me it's not happening. It's impossible. A few could survive, but most of us are done, sentenced. Life doesn't have an easy road, only a catalogue ranging from hard to hellish, all uphill, both ways. Every day's the same. Wake up with a cup of cynicism for breakfast, go back to sleep after a handful of disappointments for dinner. This game is no different. There's no happy ending to be found. Though if you manage to change my mind, you'll win the respect of this old geezer. Not like that has much value. Just like that, as suddenly as it had appeared, all that seriousness went away. As he gave Bill a few pats on the back, he felt bad for lying, but didn't say anything. So he decided to do all he could to turn that little lie into the truth. He would find that certainty and break that cynicism. Let's hope. Leaving that aside, does anyone want another drink? Well, I can't say no, as long as it's free. Considering the situation we're in, it would be in bad taste if it wasn't. Exactly. Conversation had reached a dead end. The three of them in total silence. Vodka gazed at his half-empty glass with an expressionless face, while licking his dry lips every few seconds to moisten them. Bill had his arms on the counter, while resting his head on one of them. With the tips of his fingers, he tapped the wood, producing a rhythmical pattern. In his head, memories from the recent dispute the group had were replaying. What direction were things going to go from that point forwards? Cocktail had grabbed a wet towel and was spending his time cleaning a glass, the same one, over and over again for a few minutes. The intention wasn't to make it pristine, but to suppress his anxiousness in a way that wasn't obvious to the other players. Someone sat to his side, making him turn his head, or his eyes recognized who it was. The smell of tobacco reached his nostrils. Holding a cigarette and a lighter, Cigar sat down on the stool, crossing one leg over the other. The lighter spark ignited the tip of the cigar. After taking in some, she let out a big puff of smoke. Anything to drink? Why not? Since we're here, might as well enjoy what we can. What do you have, bartender? Just about anything. You know, it's been years since I had a martini. Would you get me one? Of course. Just a moment. I wouldn't look for some nuts or peanuts or anything like that to eat. I'll see what I can do. Bill found Cigar's attitude disconcerting. She was smiling, seemingly looking forward to trying the drink, as if this game wasn't her concern and she was just passing the time in a bar. Less than an hour ago, she was panicking severely, wanting to get out of there, immediately. It was disturbing. You seem cheerful, Cigar. Excuse me? Usual look of disdain quickly came back. What are you talking about? I'm not cheerful, as if I could. Then why that smile a moment ago? Must be woman stuff, boy. I stopped trying to understand them long ago. I don't think that's it. Oh, youngsters, I stopped trying to understand you a lot long ago. Them Zoomers and Gen Zers. So then, Cigar, what was going through your head? Why'd you look so upbeat? Well, it's a pretty embarrassing thing to admit. It had been a while since... Since what? Since I last had a drink, you know, in a bar. This brought me back, sitting on the counter, smoke in hand, asking the barman for a drink. I missed it a bit. Kinda wanted to relive it again. Shame it had to be under these circumstances. This cocktail came with Cigar's drink and a small glass bowl with an assortment of appetizers. Another player arrived. Piano sat next to Cigar and looked at the four of them. It seemed like he wanted to say something, but ended up remaining silent, while waggling his feet, which didn't reach the floor. Hey, Piano? What? The kid's blunt response caught Bill by surprise. It took him a second to put himself back together. And I just wanted to include him in the conversation. Don't you want anything? I guess, why not? Hito leaned forward to check what the others were having and saw vodkas in Cigar's cups. The martini seemed too elegant. What a grandiose person would drink. On the other hand, it fit Cigar like a glove. It gave off the impression of a sophisticated woman, or at least of a woman that acted like one. Vodka's was much more alluring to him, so he asked, "Oh, what's he having?" "Vodka." Vodka seemed to get out of his haze at that moment. "Were you calling me?" No. Piano was asking what drink you were having." "Ooh, I see. It's vodka, son." "Yeah, he already told me." "Then I also want one." Are you sure? Don't give the boy vodka, what the fuck? Isn't it, like, really strong? Yes, very much. Very much so, especially for someone his age. Come on, dude, give me one. Why do you care? I think I could. If anything, serve you a sip at most. That still seems too much. Okay, fine, that works. Very well then. Wait, are you idiots? Is this for real? Eh? Excuse me? Are you really gonna give vodka, of all things, to a kid? Hey, who says you can decide what I do? Common sense, kid. Last thing we need right now is an alcohol-poisoned child. Right, that could be really bad for you, Piano. I'm old enough to decide for myself. Old enough? Yeah, right. Don't give him anything, Cocktail. Gimme. You'll lose your bar license, Cocktail. Then what do I do? Did I do it, or... Don't you dare. Yes, goddammit. What should I do? Serve or not serve? Still holding on to the small glass cup filled with the transparent substance on his trembling hand, Cocktail looked both ways, the Cigar and Piano, while they gave him contradictory commands. A drop of sweat ran down his forehead. Think for yourself, man. It's obvious. You're a professional. You'd never willingly give kids. Bard said, "Yours to put an end to this dispute," burst out. The warning, Bill snatched the glass from Cocktail's hand and drank it in a single gulp. Tears peeped out of his eyes while the fluid burned his throat, unaccustomed to such a strong liquor. Shit. Owen took one last smoke, puffing it. Made that felt like a sigh. With a finished cigarette in the glass and looked at the other 4 players sitting there in what seemed like a look of doubt. Cocktail's eyes fixed on the woman as she frowned. Putting her glass aside, she stared for a moment at the cigarette inside. Resting on the half-melted ice cubes with her nail mark on one of its sides, Cocktail emptied the remains of the cup and started to clean up. It took him a bit to recover, but several minutes later, with renewed energy, Bill got off the counter and moved to the center of the bar. His head was still full of doubts, but he couldn't afford to stay still for much longer. The most important problem, however, how to escape, didn't seem solvable for the time being, so setting it aside, there were other issues to take care of. One of them, the simplest of all, was... Every new hour, there were 2 things he had to check in his barman. Rule 7 and 9, unlocking new data and checking what his objective was. Began with the data. He didn't want to unravel the numbers of others. It was useful for his own. It wasn't important to know what rule he could disobey. It was also necessary to survive Rule 3 if the lie was proven. He opened the data menu and tapped the second one. As he had started with the first one, he decided to continue in order. Traveled to another country, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10. The data that appeared on the screen changed everything. It was a bit embarrassing for him to admit, but he had barely traveled. The few times he had, it was never too far, and definitely not to other countries. So 1 of these 2, 6, 2, 6, and 8. If neither data corresponded to him, assuming the organizer of the game didn't mess up, all those numbers could be ruled out, which only left him with 3. Rule 8, giving control over messaging. Rule 6, giving advantage in accusals, and more importantly, Rule 2, the key to the outside of the Golden Jack. Can it really be me? Until then, the likelihood that it was him was low, so going outside in search for help was basically suicide. But now that option wasn't as daunting. It was still dangerous, actually, even if it was his rule, as Cocktail had put it. It was risky for number 2 to go out. It had to not be seen. His absence go unnoticed. Wait, what if that's the point? I think those obstacles were part of the design of the game. The building's exit had to be somewhere outside of the bar. The poison forced them to remain there to receive the antidotes. It wasn't a physical restriction. If they went out with enough time, perhaps they could get to a hospital. They would get 1 hour at most. Hard, though not impossible, depending on their location. It could be the case that the game was designed so that 2 was forced to not remain outside the bar for too long to prevent them from escaping. No, there's a problem with that logic. If 2 died, everyone could leave without limitations. There'd be something preventing them from escaping. Or perhaps the owner had made sure there wasn't enough time to save themselves from the poison. It does feel like we're having this same debate multiple times now. His head hurt again, and not because of the poison. He had to stop. The important thing is that he had reduced his number to 3 candidates. It was time to check the objective. Thanks to his data, he knew for sure that he wasn't 9, so he had to complete them to survive each hour. The first objective appeared. Hints. According to the rules of the game, information hidden throughout the building. Given that the outside of the bar was only accessible for 1 person, it was to be expected that a good number of them would be hidden inside. He had no idea what form they could take, but it wasn't a bad objective to start with. He already planned to investigate the place in more depth. That only gave him more reason to. And it was important to not find more than 1 hint. He didn't know how many there were. There didn't seem to be any way to know. If they ran out, that objective would become a death sentence. Bill put away his barman. It was time to move. Looking around, there were several places that could contain hints. There were also poker, darts, and gin around. pool table. The way to play in these circumstances. They seem to be the three agitators of the group. Probably wasn't going to get any clues from there, but maybe it'd be a good chance to talk to them. In addition, while he was checking his barman, Piano had gotten up from the counter and had gone to the bookshelf area, just like the previous hour. It wouldn't be a bad idea to talk to the others he found either. But where to begin?